On this week's episode, we're going to discuss a new and more open source alternative to VS Code, and lots of hacks that you need to know about. Welcome to Destination Linux, where we discuss the latest news, hot topics, gaming, mobile, and all things open source in Linux. My name is Jill.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Ryan.
We're also going to cover the mobile phone, a dead technology. Let's see what the predictions are. Plus, we got some Linux gaming and our software spotlight and more. Now, let's get the show on the road toward Destination Linux.
Our feedback this week comes from Daniel. Daniel says, my reason for reaching out will be at the very end. So you have to read the entire message to get it.
That's not how TLDR works.
I like that, though. I like that he's like making us
I guess you're being upfront about that, so I appreciate that. Okay, so
Daniel's gamified the email. Like, we have to wait to understand what the real message is. My reason for reaching out, we already went through that part. See, you already got me, Daniel. Firstly, thank you for a beautiful show. I think you have a good balance in nerdy, geeky subjects, as well as simpler explanations for beginners. I think it's always worthwhile to remember that we have all, excluding Jill, been beginners at some point. I agree with you. Jill was born with sudo access and knew everything.
So Jill started with Linux before Linux existed, and that's how she didn't start as a beginner. So that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Secondly, I hope that we can get an announcement segment that Slack finally is able to share desktops when using Wayland.
That would be nice.
Yeah. While support for Wayland has been in Electron, which Slack uses under the hood, for a while, it is finally rolling out to Slack users. So we just kind of made our own announcement section right there. Daniel made it.
Except
now everybody knows.
Except I don't know if that's actually, I don't think that's true. If it is, great.
Well, why would Daniel wouldn't lie?
I don't know.
It's true.
Did you check it to make sure it
I
worked?
didn't look it up because I just assumed Daniel was true. Did you look it up? I mean, you're the one questioning it.
I didn't look it up.
I trust Daniel.
I should have looked it up. I thought you were going to look it up.
Why don't you trust Daniel, Michael?
I don't. It's not that I don't trust Daniel. I just don't.
I'm sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry he doesn't trust you. Yeah, I trust that Daniel knows what he's talking about here. Thirdly, I wish the hardware addicts comes back. Not that I learn a great deal from there. I bet you do. I just don't want to admit it. To be honest, but more because even my nerdy colleagues at my Linux-only workspace get fed up with talking hardware, architectures, gadgets, etc. It was great to have a little whisper in my ear that there are other people like me out there just halfway across the globe. So we get the hardware addicts a lot, and we got that in person. Wendy's actually here in our patron chat as well. It's really Wendy's fault. I really want to do the show. Michael wants to do the show. Wendy, on the other hand, has basically said it's never going to happen. Quit asking. So
she's just so sick of hardware. She also doesn't like doing the camera recorder anymore.
She doesn't like robotics, cameras.
It's just true. So none of that is true. It was Ryan's fault.
I can't believe she didn't come off mute.
I think she was being respectful to us, not being respectful to her.
Yeah. So the truth is that it's me. And it's a time thing right now, being in college with my college student shirt that you can see here, and the show and work and everything else. It's hard to do yet another podcast on top of that. But that's not to say it's not going to happen in the future. So
it could happen. You never know.
Very well. Also, we are in conversations, and we have lots of people asking about it. So I appreciate, though, that so many people enjoyed the show.
And we also want to bring it back ourselves. I mean, it is a show we enjoy doing. Yeah, exactly. But also, it's funny because that shirt, Ryan, that shirt is hilarious because all I can remember is the meme of "Hello, fellow kids."
Oh, and for our audio listeners, his shirt says "college student," but the ENT in student is crossed out, so it's college stud. Yeah, and that's what Ryan is, a college stud.
Oh,
such a nerd.
Golly. My wife bought this shirt for me. Truthfully, she did. And I love it. I'm so proud of this shirt. I wear it everywhere. My old butt wearing a college stud shirt.
Great taste.
Agreed. The ending of this. So we finally got through the email so we can get to the point of it.
Oh, okay. What was the point? I got sidetracked.
Ryan, if you fed this into a GPT, here is the point. AIs tend to be helpful until they're not. I mean, look at what the AI algorithms of commercialized nonsense always have to buy more made your poor feet wear. Cheers, Daniel. I like Daniel a lot. First of all, I trust you, Daniel, like Michael.
I didn't say that. I was just saying I didn't know if it was true or not because I don't have. He didn't provide sources for that. So I
trust our community. If you disagree with the fact that Michael doesn't trust this community we've built over all of these years, you can send your comments to destinationlinux.net/comments and ask Michael why he doesn't trust the community.
This does not help my case. I did look it up just now, and it does seem like it is working, or at least it will be working. And they said in a few months that it'll be rolling out. But they said that a couple months ago. So it does seem like it's a possibility. And it also, I could have done like really bad research and I don't know. But
believe in the good of people, Michael. That's really a good lesson here.
Believe Daniel's statement.
The tip and trick of the week is believe in the good of people, Michael.
Believe in yourself and also in others.
You say you want to be more like Jill. Jill would believe Daniel right away. That's why I believe Daniel right away out there. This is hilarious. This
You're
goes
not
back
like
to
Jill.
the whole.
How dare you compare yourself to Jill?
This goes back to the whole Crocs conversation we had where I was basically, you're right. It was commercialized, fed into my brain that I needed to try these Crocs everybody was talking about in their sports mode. And my wife did buy me a pair of Star Wars Crocs. And I haven't really worn them since, honestly. So a funny story, though, is my boss listens to this show. And so I got a message randomly during one of these days. And it was like, really, Crocs? And I didn't have my boss's name stored in my phone. So it took me a second to realize it was them, but it was really funny that they were like disappointed in me. So if my review's bad this year, it's because of this stupid Crocs. Stupid Crocs conversation there. So even my boss was disappointed. There you go.
I mean, as they should be.
He probably wanted to see you wear them to work.
Yeah. I don't think so. I definitely would be in trouble then.
You should do that and then show sports mode to them. And be like, see,
like
don't
run
you get
around
it
the
now?
Cubicles?
Yes.
Like, look how fast I can go now. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
When I win the lottery, that's exactly what I'll do on my last day at work.
It could be the big event on the Casual Friday.
There you go. Yeah. Ryan relay around the cubicles in sports mode. Yeah, I like it. It's a good idea.
Speaking of big events, we also have a big event to talk about. That is a vulnerability in SSH. So that's always fun, right?
Not like these.
Not like these. But so what exactly is happening? Well, it's a vulnerability that was found, and it actually has a fun name. You know, like they've been naming these vulnerabilities and these technical issues and stuff like that in the past couple of years. And this is based on SSH, so it's regression, but it's SSH in the word. So I like
cute.
that.
You know, like if you're getting hacked, you've lost all your information. Maybe it got encrypted. You've lost $1 million worth of Bitcoin you worked your whole life for. At least you can laugh at the name of the vulnerability that got you. You know,
that's the spirit, Ryan.
I like it.
So
cute.
What exactly is this vulnerability? Barrett Jogi, I probably butchered that. Sorry about that. Senior director at the Threat Research Unit of Qualys says that the vulnerability, which is a signal handler race condition in OpenSSH's server, or SSHD, allows unauthenticated remote code execution, or RCE, as a root on glibc-based Linux systems. That presents a significant security risk. This race condition affects SSHD in its default configuration. So this is a big deal because remote code execution is something you never want to hear being possible in any vulnerability. It is a very high status on the severity rate of the CVEs, that sort of thing. So it's 8.1 out of 10 last I checked. And that's not good. But on the bright side,
very high. That's it's like a tornado scale, but for vulnerabilities.
Yeah, but we're trying to think like positive, like Jill, Ryan. So right. At least it's not a 10 out of 10. So it could have been
that, yeah.
It's not an F5 in the Twister world. It's like a F3, F4. Yeah, but it's still also very deadly.
This particular vulnerability is interesting, and the name of it is interesting because of the regression part. is because it actually is a regression. It was first found and patched back in 2006, and some changes and updates that happened recently brought the vulnerability back. So it was not recently, I guess, but it was reintroduced in October of 2020. And this is also, let's talk about the potential impact of it, I guess. So a regression in this context means that a flaw, this is a quote, by the way, once fixed, has reappeared in subsequent software releases, typically due to changes or updates that inadvertently reintroduce the issue. This incident highlights the crucial role of their thorough regression testing to prevent the reintroduction of known vulnerabilities into the environment. So it is, though, a challenging thing to exploit. It has, with multiple attempts for a successful attack is being required, but if the exploit is executed, this vulnerability, if exploited, could lead to full system compromise where an attacker can execute arbitrary code with the highest privileges, resulting in a complete system takeover. That's why it's got a pretty high rating.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of scary, man. I gotta sleep tonight, and I'm gonna be thinking about this regression that is in there. What's interesting, and I think is a really good point that you made, is that a lot of times we see media companies jumping on anytime Linux gets a virus or some
Linux
type of
doomed and
vulnerability out there, right? And what you find is when you look into these vulnerabilities that you would have to have physical access to the system, you would have to have elevated yourself to admin already. Like there's all of these things that have had to happen for it to be executed. So it's like, it's interesting. We want it fixed, but it's not that scary. Where it comes to something like this, which is very scary because of the SSH implications, which is how a lot of people securely connect to all of their various servers. And the fact that, like you said, it can be done remotely means that even though it requires multiple attempts to have a successful attack, this multiple attempts thing is quite often seen anytime a service is being attacked, meaning generally they'll try things 100 different ways if they need to, which I'll get into a personal example here shortly, trying to get in your account a million different ways. So like, to me, the fact that it requires multiple attempts doesn't make it less threatening. Like, yeah, it's better than one attempt, but generally if you've started to compromise something, or that you're onto a system that is vulnerable to this attack, the fact you may have to do it multiple times in order to finally crack it is not really a deterrent, right?
Yeah.
It's not a deterrent.
It's not a deterrent, but also if they're automating it, it's not a big deal in the first place for them because it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because let's talk about who's affected. So the same person from Qualys says that OpenSSH versions earlier than 4.4p1 are vulnerable to this, but also that's not necessarily the case exactly because older versions that have not reintroduced the new thing. So if you have a distribution that is very old that doesn't have the one that introduced it, reintroduced it, you're not affected. You're not affected. I do update now. Thank you very much. Because that one drive, it is no longer super old. There was actually a tweet I made based on this. It was like, it was in the early February or something, or maybe January. I don't know. But it was a tweet about me saying, so I have a paradox that I can't wait to use the next version of KDE Plasma. So I'm using Fedora 40 daily or nightly. The beta wasn't even out yet. I was using the nightly. So I couldn't wait. So I'm having like updates every day, all the time to have the latest and greatest. While my other system was still on like Fedora 35 or something. Wow. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like 5.24 or something around there. I don't remember exactly. But I hadn't updated that one in like 2 years or so. So I have like a paradox of like, I don't want to update it all, but also I want the latest and greatest of everything. So eventually I did give in and update. I tried to update that. Turns out, if you don't update your system for many years, some distributions don't like that and don't allow the updates to work.
Yeah.
So it did not work, and I just moved on and did a fresh install. But I backed up everything first.
It's kind of a shame you did that because you would have had a counter argument now when we make fun of you for not updating. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to have regression. malware on my system. Like,
don't worry, my laptop's still old too.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, you still got your counter argument there.
Yeah, I have some older systems and stuff, but at the same time, I have a bunch of different OS installations. So some of them are not updated because I haven't got around to it or care. And then there's other ones that are as up to date as possible. Like my current system right now that I'm using for the show is Fedora 40, and it has the latest thing. I have 6.1 for Plasma and all that. Yes. I think I still might be on the nightly things.
The whole point of this, though, is who's vulnerable is where we started. And
that's what we're talking about.
There. People who are vulnerable are ones who haven't updated for a really long time, but then you're vulnerable against a bunch of other stuff because you haven't updated in a long time.
Yes, you're invulnerable to this particular bug and vulnerable to like hundreds of others, or maybe thousands of others.
And then there are patches for this right now, though. So if you're on Ubuntu, you're on RHEL, you're on OpenSUSE, if you run an update, you're going to get this patch. But it is all over the news. Everybody's talking about it, but it's already fixed, apparently, this 8.1 Richter scale.
Just update your system, people. Just like take it from me, the person who updates all the time. You should update your system and patch it and all that good stuff.
Now, refresh my memory, Jill. Isn't this the second SSH vulnerability we've had?
This is the second one in like the last year that was big with SSH. But once again, it got patched so quickly. By the time the news comes out about it, it's already patched.
Yeah. That's good.
And that's the beauty of Linux, you know.
It's also like I respect the security companies that do that because they have an agreement to provide this information about the vulnerability to the people who can fix it before releasing the information. And they also went above and beyond on this one because Qualys said in the frequently asked questions, have you provided an exploit code to be able to test your stuff and that sort of thing? And they think that this is too bad of a code to provide, so they're not going to. And I like that because if it's
Qualys, let's give them another shout out. Qualys out there.
Good job.
Yeah, they do a
really responsible way of handling this. And you know what? A lot of companies wouldn't do that because if you're first to the news, you get to have your name spread all around out there, how you found this and got them and all of that. It would be much more profitable for them to not do that agreement and not allow it to be patched before they talk about it. But they're doing the moral thing, which is very rare these days. So Qualys, we're just going to say their name and get them out there just like they were the first out there. So thank you,
good job
for that awesome work there. I want to talk about something else that happened to me while I was out last week. And thank you to all those who were asking where I was and things. Wendy did an amazing job, too good of a job. We can never have her on again last week. So that was a really fun episode. But I was on a business trip. And when I got back, I started getting these notification pop-ups on my phone saying, hey, do you accept this Microsoft login with the number, like random number they give you to type in and accept from Brazil? And I'm like, I don't think I'm in Brazil. I did travel, but not from Brazil. So I denied it. And then I immediately logged into my live account, which I barely ever use for anything, but logged into it and noticed the login attempts. There were hundreds of them from all around the world. Brazil, South Korea, Russia, China, all these places were just constantly hammering my live account. What was interesting about this is I had seen on Reddit the week before, and if you actually type this in, you can see this in Reddit. If you type Microsoft Live account hack, you'll see that tons of people in the last month have been reporting that their live account has been hacked. In addition, just yesterday, all of Xbox, and may not be related, but all of Xbox services account logins specifically were completely down for the entire day.
Don't you need a live account for
your Xbox? Yep.
Yeah.
So all of that was down. So something is happening. And so we wanted to make people aware where if you do have a live account, even if it's not something you use a lot, it is a vulnerability that could lead to another vulnerability. So maybe you don't use your live account a lot, but you have other accounts that maybe send a password there, or you use the same password in your live account that you use on other accounts, social media accounts, those type of things. But there's a lot of hacking going on, like a lot of hacking going on recently, and happening with Linux, as you can see, vulnerabilities being discovered, but also happening with Microsoft and accounts. And of course, with all of these companies so responsibly handling our data and, in the breaches that happen every single week, 3 to 5 times a week with every service that we use, they're getting more sophisticated They're getting extraordinarily accurate. And it's really, really one of those situations where you need to have a comprehensive security plan in place for dealing with this type of stuff, not only monitoring your accounts, but also being able to quickly address when these type of things pop up. But imagine had I not been paying attention to the fact that, do you want to let this person from Brazil have access? And you know how you're playing on your phone and sometimes something just quickly pops up and you just click it away? People do it all the time. And actually, hackers rely on that. They rely on that fact that every once in a while, they may be able to hit that notification enough to annoy you enough, or right at the right time where you accidentally hit that approve button, even though you didn't mean to. Yeah. So that's something to consider as well.
That's how mobile games get you. You're trying to do something to have a button that you're supposed to hit, and all of a sudden an ad pops up and you accidentally hit it to open the thing. Like, we know what you're doing. But it's funny that you brought this up, because I had no idea this live stuff was happening, because I have not used my live account in years. I mean, like, why?
It's like saying your Yahoo account.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? From 89?
Yeah. And some of these might even be like Hotmail accounts that were converted into live. I don't know. Right. But I went and checked to see if my passwords are good. And I do have unique passwords for each one of them. And most of them are gibberish. One was I need to fix, but it's a super old one I forgot I even had.
It's Ryan as a college stud?
Not a chance. Oh. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you might not even remember you have the account. I went in and said, oh, this account is so old, I wasn't even using a good password system at the time, which is like using a password manager that it gives you the password so you don't have to remember it. And I wasn't even doing that. It has a password. I actually remember having that password. And I'm like, that's a bad sign. So by the time you watch this, I'll have fixed it. But
to Ryan is a stud. Didn't.
There you go.
Didn't.
There you go.
That's done it.
Yeah, I've been reading about this all over the internet and Reddit, and I remember looking at it like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have my Microsoft Live account anymore.
Right.
And then poor Ryan tells me his trials because he has to use it, for work and school.
For college.
College. Yeah.
So here's what's really interesting. A lot of people who listen to this show are forced to use Office for whether it be college or for work or other things. And you may have a personal live account. So this could affect a lot of people. Now, here's your tip and trick of the week. We're going to do it here little early version of it. In Microsoft, there is an option to go completely passwordless, which I really like that they have this feature. So if you go into your account and go into the settings, you can actually remove the password feature in there. And why this is important is because clearly they have gotten a very accurate list of passwords, because good news is I had 2FA on, but the fact is they must have had my gibberish password that was auto-generated, because I don't use the same password across any device. They must have had it exact. And if you know anything about the passwords me and Michael create, they're very long. They're always completely gibberish, and they're auto-generated from tools.
And there is no way you could guess them. Like, it's impossible. Brute forcing would take hundreds of years.
So, however, Microsoft got pwned, like, they have the exact password, that gibberish password that I had, which is really interesting to me and scary. But you can remove passwords entirely, which I think is far more secure. Then now you have just the authenticator as the way to get into your account there. So really important, I think, for people to go do a health check on any of your accounts. I'm paying a lot of attention to any of the accounts I have right now, because it seems like somebody's got some really good information out there on the dark web on a lot of people's accounts. And it's pretty scary out there, people.
Yeah.
Scary.
Pretty scary. Maybe you would like to be unhackable, just like Jill. Well, you can get our new t-shirt that I will have in the store by the time you watch this. And it is I'm unhackable with a floppy disk.
A floppy disk?
Yay.
I've actually started working
here's
on
the deal, Michael. A lot of times you promise things are going to be in the store and they don't. So here's the deal, Jill. You agree to this, okay?
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the shirt ready by next episode, okay, he has to use RatPoison for a month. A month as punishment.
That would be awesome.
Yes. Michael, agree to the terms or you're a coward.
No.
Do it.
If it's a week, A month is too much.
Okay, 2 weeks of RatPoison. Do it, you coward. Do it. Do it.
No mice, no rats.
That shirt's not in the store by the next time we record. RatPoison, 2 weeks.
Okay. So I acknowledge I did this to myself. How do you go shake on a?
Go ahead. No, just virtual shake. Look, he agreed to it. Oh man.
Actually, I was gonna say it's my fault that I brought this up. I brought it on myself. So I will agree to your ridiculous challenge or whatever.
Jill, either way we win. We either get a cool shirt, which I can't wait to rock, or we get to watch Michael suffer.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Both cases. Awesome.
Yeah. Wait, me suffering is awesome? I don't like that.
Yes.
That's not
struggle
cool,
is real.
Well,
he's gonna be over there looking up shortcuts every 5 seconds to figure out how to scroll down to see the note for the show.
It's gonna be like, are you that efficient with shortcuts? We'll find out.
Yeah.
On the next episode. We're not doing that. I will have the shirt ready, people.
Yeah. And then Michael will need some advice from me about his .ratpoison RC configuration file.
Yep.
I will not, because we have the last episode. It's all good.
And that'll be stored on the floppy disk, of which you need to extract it, and it'll be encrypted, like my password.
She'll mail it to you on a floppy. That's fantastic, Jill. I love it. That is great. You know what? I've noticed that Sinister Wendy has rubbed off on Jill this episode. Just one day. One
episode with Wendy.
And already Jill's kind of thinking a little eviler.
There was this one comment. It was like, I was worried about this episode. They were talking about there was a comment from last week's episode, and it was like, I was worried about it because the pillars of evil have joined together.
Pillars of evil. That's so fantastic. All right. Well, now that we've scared you, let's talk about something positive. How about the fact that there's a challenger to VS Code. Speaking of Microsoft, VS Code is beyond dominant. It has 73% of Stack Survey's latest survey of the people who took the survey use VS Code. And that's usually all of your geeks and people doing coding and all of that stuff. It's a very huge population, very well-respected study out there that's done every single year by Stack Survey. And 74% of all developers use VS Code. So it's safe to say that not only is it the most popular, there's nobody even close to getting really challenging VS Code right now. And that's because VS Code is not only partially open source, meaning it's on a open source foundation. The extensions aren't necessarily open source, but VS Code is. But also because of the fact that they have an extensive extension store. And we talk about this with phones. Like, why is Android and iPhone the only option? Well, they have the apps, right? And nobody's writing apps for these other third-party ones out there. The third-party ones that tried, that's where they struggled. It's hard to suddenly have an ecosystem of 100,000 plus apps when you launch a new operating system.
I mean, with that attitude, for sure,
yeah.
Ryan.
So,
but also there's a thing where they technically, VS Code was Microsoft's clone / modification of Atom, because they bought Atom and then destroyed Atom, and then therefore they took all of the market from Atom and put it into VS Code. So it was kind of smart in that sense, because Atom was a very popular editor for a very long time.
I like Atom. Yeah, it was one of my favorites. And the other thing to note is that VS Code is also very popular because it's really good. It's actually a really good IDE.
Yeah, people like it.
So
that makes
a lot
sense.
of people like it. However, there is a true open source contender that wants to challenge that. And with the release of Eclipse Theia, that's THEIA IDE. And the Eclipse Foundation is well known for a lot of the work they do in open source. And this tool promises to take not only all of the great features you love about VS Code, but make them even better. And unlike VS Code, out of the box, this new IDE does not collect telemetry on you, because one of the things about VS Code is that, yes, it's open source, but it also has telemetry elements built into it. So they're taking your data out there. So they're not going to do that. But they also are making sure that the extension system that VS Code uses is compatible with Theia.
So is it based on VS Code, or is it just like compatible? like the engines or whatever?
So it's built on the same Monaco editor that powers VS Code.
Oh, okay.
And it supports the same language server protocols and debug adapter protocols that provide the IntelliSense code completions and things that people really like about VS Code. The code completion's awesome features in there.
So it's very similar, but not technically based on it. Yep. Okay.
And it uses the Open VSX registry instead of Microsoft's VS Code Marketplace that they have there. But the extensions between the two are compatible.
That's cool.
So comparing the two, Eclipse themselves have this to say. They have distinctive features like an adaptable toolbar, detachable views, remote development support, and the forthcoming live collaboration mode that will set Theia apart from the other open source IDEs. Moreover, its commitment to privacy and its stance against incorporating telemetry by default reflect its respect for user preferences out there. So the one that caught my attention the most is this remote live collaboration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Live collaboration, even on my team and the work we do, would be incredible to be able to work on something simultaneously with somebody, and having that built into the IDE would be invaluable for a lot of organizations. I really wish they would have released it with that, because I think people would have started popping over there right away. But when they get that up and running,
maybe they're just trying to do it as like trying to get people who need that as a, another way to market. So like they're marketing at this because it's already got value. It's a fully open source. It has the lack of telemetry, which is important, at least by default. The way they said they're against incorporating telemetry by default, that means that they might have it at some point, but you would have to request it, like you would have to activate it. So I appreciate that. I don't think that data collection is necessarily bad, but telemetry without your input is absolutely bad. So I like that stance on it. And they're talking about all these cool things about, it's already a good editor, check it out. And then also the next time they do release it, they go like, well, a new marketing push for this particular one, because this by itself is probably worth its, all the people marketing and talking about it, making articles and all that sort of stuff just on that alone. So this is like an extra push to get the double effort and double value.
Yeah.
But I do think it's cool. The name Theia is kind of odd because it's
have
this
little flat.
Yeah, it doesn't ring like any bells or anything, and it also is you had to spell it, so that's not a good thing for marketing. Yeah, but I guess it could be worse. Yeah,
X.
No, they should have called it. They should have called it V, and it's half
or Vendetta.
Or for that, it's also you could do it that way. But I was thinking like it's half Vi. And
oh yeah, you could get the Vi community in there.
Well, it's half a Vi because it's V.
By the way, anyway, they should Eclipse. Listen to us. Hear me out. Change the name to Vendetta. That would be amazing. That would be a great name for an IDE. Vendetta. Like who doesn't want to use? And then you could have the V for Vendetta thing. You'd have all kinds of references and memes immediately about it in a good way. Like that would be dope.
Marketing wise, that would be good. I don't know if people would want to use like a professional company would be like Vendetta. We have a Vendetta. Actually, I want that now. Do it. I agree. Do it.
Brilliant.
Do it. And if you really want to eclipse the market share of VS Code, then
you want to
name it in Vendetta.
By the way, if you do change the name to Vendetta, then give us a shout out in one of your news articles. That's all we ask.
There we go.
That's all we ask, and 10%.
And another reason actually for Eclipse's huge adoption is their active open source community, which is hosted by the Eclipse Foundation. And that's what sets them apart from VS Code. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful open source community. I actually know some people who actually contribute plugins and whatnot. So
very nice.
It's very active, and the list of contributors and users is really amazing for Eclipse. Broadcom, ARM, IBM, Red Hat, SAP, Samsung, Google, Gitpod, Huawei, to name a few.
Yeah.
That's related to like just Eclipse in general, right?
Yeah.
Eclipse Foundation in general. Yeah.
Yeah. And, another thing that I think sets Eclipse apart from VS Code that was stated in the blog They state, Eclipse Theia allows developers to customize every aspect of the IDE without forking or patching the code. This means they can easily use Theia as a base to develop desktop and cloud IDEs that are fully tailored for the needs of internal company projects or for commercial resale as a branded product. VS Code is a developer IDE only. It was never intended to be used as the base for other IDEs, extended or further distributed. It makes Eclipse so much more unique and so much more useful.
Yeah, so essentially you could have a custom environment that you're not having to fork to make for a company to have their own IDE with their own extensions automatically loaded into it, and it's being consistent across all your development team.
That's a cool play. I like it.
Yeah, it's a very good play. I think the only risk here is Copilot. You know, when you look at AI and its ability to help you with code completion, but also help you write code and things like that, I'm sure there are extensions that may work that could bring that in there. But without using it yet myself, that would be the one thing I would wonder if they're going to be able to tackle, which is having some type of AI code completion / ability to write code for you within the AI there, which would be cool.
Well, you know, recently I played with the Eclipse Theia IDE online, and I was really impressed with how fast it is. It's really fast.
Yeah.
Is this enough to make you give up Sublime, Michael?
Not really.
What about the collaboration? We could work on Michael AI together.
I mean, I wouldn't work on that, but I do think that there is a huge value in that one. So for those who don't know, we are actually doing live collaboration through Notes, and it has very similar features to Sublime, but it's called HedgeDoc, and we self-host it, and it's really cool, and it allows us to have our show notes together and synced. So if Ryan changes something, we both see it, and that sort of thing. So that is very valuable. And to have that for developers to be able to see the code being changed and being able to just quickly look through the code and get some collaboration help and that sort of stuff, I think that is a huge potentially game changer. And if I maybe like Sublime Text, I like because it is super fast and performant, and VS Code would always like really sluggish to me in comparison because I'm spoiled by Sublime Text. And if this is, you know, as what Jill is saying, if it's really fast and it offers something that I couldn't notice the difference, maybe it's definitely something I will put in my list to try out for sure.
There you go. We've got some interesting futurisms, Michael, futurisms to talk about.
So we have some futuristic futurisms to discuss for the future.
Yes, exactly. And those futuristic futurisms are about your phone. Hold up your phone, Michael. Hold up your phone.
I have to find it.
You can't find it, can you? Because it's dead. Your phone is dead.
Right here.
It's dead.
I found it.
Throw it in the trash. It's dead. It's worthless.
I don't want to throw it in the trash.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you why you need to throw it in your trash.
But more importantly, what makes it worthless? And
AI makes it worthless, of course. By the way, I noticed. Exactly. Now, see, your stock just went up just because you said AI. I noticed last week when Wendy was on that you guys made the joke at one point. It said, "Hey, we've made it through the whole episode without discussing AI." And Jill's like, "Now you just jinxed it." And this episode,
now we're going to talk about a lot of AI.
We're going to talk about AI.
Yes. You're welcome, people.
You're welcome. AI. You know the story. Lots of endless promises. $3 trillion NVIDIA company off of AI. That bubble won't burst. Badly.
Why would you say that? It's never gonna go away. AI forever.
Well, we've only have a company evaluated at $10 trillion. You know, their next 10 years of evaluation. So, yeah, I think it's there's no way that could go bad. They're surely going to keep that up. But some of the promises of AI have been a big letdown. Like the advancements aren't quite what we hoped for, but that's not stopping futurisms predicting the future.
Because they're futurists.
The futurists can do that. Predicting the futurism's future, which the future they're saying, Michael, is that mobile phones as we know its days are numbered.
Oh. Well, let's go back to the future and talk about this.
Future cubed.
Yes. So there's a couple of trends that I want to point to. So I'm going to make the case of why I think that there's actually some legitimacy here. One of those is that the addictive nature of mobile devices, people are starting to kind of wake up. They don't let their kids. I'm noticing a lot of their kids are not getting mobile phones right away till they're like 16 or older because of the addictive nature of that and the social media and things. So people are starting to get a little bit smarter of the dangers that these devices have from the addictive factor. According to the International Journal for Mental Health, over a third of people are either at high risk or currently suffering from a phone addiction. So, we've seen the memes, people walking down the street with their face in their phone, and then they walk into a pool or something like that. You've seen the memes where they have a bunch of friends, like their friends, the parents taking the kids' friends out, and they're all sitting around the dinner table, but none of them are talking to each other. They're instead sitting there on their phone.
The best memes is the ones where people are walking with their phone and staring at their phone, and someone else is walking with their phone, and they bump into each other.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
That's great. I don't think I've seen that one. That sounds awesome. But the second one is people are not buying new phones like they used to. The CEO of Future Today Institute states that since 2017, phone sales have stagnated, meaning people aren't changing to the latest device like they once were. Apple sales in the first quarter of 2024. That's a great year. 2024.
2024. Yep.
That's my dog's favorite year, 2024. 2024 were lower by 10% than the previous year, as just one example. So,
who said this? Who said this? The
Future Today Institute.
Okay, that's called Now.
Future Today. yeah, for short for now. Future Today.
Short for now.
They should change their name to Vendetta. I'm just going to get some company to change their name to Vendetta.
And Vendetta Future. Exactly.
Vendetta Future, yes. So where will all this addiction go? Well, according to those who follow all of these technology trends, like the company Vendetta we just talked about, the predicted jump for AI is that it's going to go from $150 billion today industry to a $1.3 trillion in revenue industry in just 6 years. And that it's going to be gadgets with voice commands and AI integration that's going to replace your phone. So think about things like watches, rings, smart glasses, bracelets, or maybe even, and this one's my favorite, a Pip-Boy. So if you watch Fallout and you got the Pip-Boy action over here, that I could see as a future. Because why do we have to put our phones in our pocket?
Okay, if you're talking about like a wrist of it's basically like
a wrist phone,
like a gauntlet that has your phone on it.
Yeah,
that's not replacing the phone. That's just moving the phone to a different place where you hold it, and that's great. I would love that. Yeah.
A wrist gauntlet, by the way, is a great name for the phone. Yeah. Whoever comes out with the first Pip-Boy like thing needs to call it a wrist gauntlet.
Or a smart gauntlet or something like that.
Yeah. And going back further, this might be our Dick Tracy future.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Dick Tracy had that. Also, Predator had it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Predator, he did the beep beep beep, and an atomic bomb blew up out of it. That was great. That's what we need.
Yeah, we don't want that in our phones or our gauntlets.
But I think that this technology forecast is spot on, actually, and I've been saying this for the last several years that the phone manufacturers have done nothing short of bore people to death with their offerings.
That's true. That's true. But also it's because they just keep doing the same thing. It's like iterative. It's iterative and it's pointless. It's not even like, oh yeah, the hardware is faster, it's more powerful, blah, 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 blah. But it's all the same thing. And it's like, we know that every year there's going to be something that is going to be new released and it's going to be slightly better. And that's all you get.
Better camera, best screen ever.
Yes. And more pixels and stuff, and it's going to be faster. It's going to have more RAM sometimes. It's going to be a bigger battery sometimes.
Less storage because we want you to use the cloud.
That's true. Very little storage.
And
like
less
64 gigs or something. Or no ports, depending on the phone.
By now the phone should be able to be bendable on our arm to make it like a watch. That's what I want.
I love that you said that, Jill, because Lenovo just this week shared a bendable phone, and the person on the stage took the phone and bent it around their wrist.
Yes.
And so this is technology that they're working on.
Okay. So I don't think that this take is valid at all, because I don't think that the the wearables like the watches or the rings or things like that are going to be replacing phones. I think that if something is to replace phones, it's either going to be AR, where you have glasses and you could really see like a gigantic thing because it's in your face, and that would be kind of cool. But also no one's working on those sorts of things. But if we could get a gauntlet style thing, that would be amazing. And if we could have that has the same functionality that those, I don't know what they're called, but you know those wrist slap things where you hit them and it just wraps around you?
Yes, the wrist slappers.
If we could have that in a phone, that would be amazing.
You imagine slapping your phone on your wrist?
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude,
that would be so good.
So cool.
Here, let me check my phone and just like,
that would be brilliant. And then you can slap it and then use it as a necklace or whatever you want,
Yes, we should start the company that makes this and call it Vendetta.
There you go. How about Penguin Vendetta?
Yes, I love it. So here's my point as to why I think that this technology is going to take off. And you got to bear with me on this, because I'm going to say these words and people are going to instantly go, ew, gross, because it's got a bad rap right now. But I think the point here will be made with this is that the Rabbit R1, stop it, Michael. The Rabbit R1 was this little device that just had an AI assistant in it. And people
claimed it had an AI
nuts for this little device. It not only sold well, it sold 20 times its own sales forecast. So many people wanted to get their hands on something other than the phone. Now, I'll admit, when I saw this device, the first thing I thought is, I can do all of that on my phone. I don't get it. Like, why would I want to carry another device with me that I have to charge? Now I've got my watch, got my phone, and then I'll have a Rabbit for this AI integration when you could just put the AI on the phone itself. But it proves to you how bored, in my opinion, people are with their smartphone. They want anything other than their stupid smartphone to walk around with. And it also had some additional features it was promising, like integration with APIs and stuff, so you could order pizza with it or order an Uber with it and things like that. Either. Which I think you could do with your phone pretty easily. But
you could do all of
how
those
sick
things
of the phone people are.
So I think it's true that people are sick of like all the phone updates, because it's nothing special. Every time there's a new thing, it's like, who cares? It's not. It's the idea of I want something different is there. People are sick of this the basic boring iterative updates of phones. But that's also why the flip phones are being brought back, or the folding phones and that sort of stuff. Like, those are interesting. Those are actually, not necessarily always good, but the idea of doing something different is there. Or like the old LG phone where it had like this double phone side where you could like slide it out in like a T shape. That was a cool idea. A
little bit innovative.
It was innovative, but LG had like really cool ideas that they never actually perfected and polished. So that was a bummer. But the idea of like, yes, people want it. I agree. But I don't think that any of these things are going to actually replace the phone, because the phone is way too useful. And the idea of, I don't want to carry another thing around is true. But at the same time, if people were willing to carry this around, they want to not take their phone. Yeah. And that means the device has to be incredibly useful and incredibly reliable. Smartphones mess up. There's weird issues and bugs and stuff like that. But you can do what you need to do by simply swiping the thing, throwing the app away, restarting the app, and you can get it to be done. I literally had an experience just yesterday where the app just stopped interacting with my finger. So I had to close it and then reopen it, and now I can use it again. Now imagine a AI device that you have to talk to in order to get to it to do things, and it not be able to do one thing. Like this is annoying. Like, look, it's a glorified voice assistant, first of all, and the idea is, I don't even think that good, because it brings the question up: is AI itself good enough to be a product by itself, or is it a feature that you want to put in your phone?
Yeah. Well, my son and I today, for a funny situation, was we were at the dinner table, And being that it's Independence Day tomorrow, I thought, hey, I'll ask Google AI, what is Independence Day about? So the kids could kind of hear it and get that whole bit of information.
Did it? Okay. I hope this is what happened, but they gave you the synopsis for the movie from the 90s.
No, that would be fantastic. It just simply opened up a search engine and gave me search results for what is Independence Day instead of answering, which was fantastic. And then my son starts laughing and he goes, "Oh, you think Google's stupid? Watch this, Dad." And he gets his iPhone and he's like, "What's 2 + 2?" And Siri's like, "I'm not programmed to answer these kind of questions." And he's like, he laughed so hard. I swear he was almost going to pee himself.
Aww.
He's like, "This is what's going to replace us all, Dad." And I'm like, yeah, it's incredible. Apple just knocked it out of the park. Can't even answer 2 + 2. So I agree. AI is, at least the versions we're allowed to see in the public, leaves a lot to be desired. At the same time, there are many times AI has helped me with coding and other things where it's done an amazing job. So
there are ways to make it useful, but I think I think the idea of AI is not necessarily. First of all, it's not AI. I hate that term. It's like hoverboards that are not hovering. Anyway, so I think that the AI concept of being useful is definitely there. I mean, but it also relates to the fact that you need to have a very specific, very tailored prompt that is going to give you exactly what you want, and you have to know how to specify what you want. The fact that they now have people who are prompt engineers is ridiculous, but also valid, because you need to be able to make sure that your prompt is going to give you what you want. Otherwise, it's going to hallucinate all the time. And even if you I actually put a part in every prompt: do not add extra data. Use only what I tell you. And that's the only way I've found for it to not hallucinate, because otherwise it will just invent data that is not there.
Invent information at once. Yeah. But I think that I think you're right. I think we're both right, Michael and Jill. All of us are right. I think that nobody's going to want
Ryan.
I think the phone is boring and dead. I really do. Like
They're
the
boring.
foldable phones that we used to have, and then everything went to a bar phone. I think the future of the phone is going to be wearing it on your wrist or in glasses or something. And in fact, Zuckerberg apparently has some huge announcement.
Oh, good old Zuck.
Huge announcement coming to the VR world. And everybody's guessing it's going to be a Google Glass-like device. And I've been following this Ray-Ban Meta collaboration that happened. So Ray-Ban and Meta partnered up. They created some glasses that have a camera on it, essentially, and some very minor AI functionality, useful but minor capabilities. And people love these glasses. If you go on the Ray-Ban Reddit forum for these glasses, they are like really huge fans of these things. But it wasn't super popular, but the people who have them like them a lot. And if Meta's able to take what they've done with their Meta Quest and then integrate that into a more, Google Glass-like environment where you're actually getting fed information and things into these glasses, and partner with a company that can make cool-looking sunglasses. I mean, Ray-Ban can make some good-looking sunglasses. I think you might have the situation where your phone just, sits at home while you put on your shades. And one thing I noticed the Ray-Bans did is they have transition lenses. So they're clear when you're inside. And then when you go outside, you've got the transition to the shade, which is a really good idea. But I don't know, everybody wants to wear glasses all the time. That's why I think the wrist gauntlet that Michael named is the best idea.
I think the gauntlet would be the best.
Gauntlet. Yeah.
The gauntlet is the best because it is the most fun and it is the most awesome. Now, some people, you may or not notice, if you don't watch the show, you just listen to the audio, you might not know that I wear glasses all the time. And Ryan was talking about how maybe people don't want to wear glasses. Well, that would be wonderful, Ryan. I would love that.
If I had a choice, buddy.
If I had the option, it would be fantastic. Yeah. But the idea of AR glasses, or not VR, because VR is cool, but it's too clunky, and it also creates that uncanny valley feeling where it makes people nauseous and that sort of stuff. And the AR thing where you still have all of the real world around you, but also you have these little extra pieces like Minority Report, that would be awesome. So I think that AR glasses are the most likely to be a competitor to smartphones. I don't think that we're anywhere near that, but I think that if any company was able to do that, they would create a huge buzz. If you can make an actual usable AR glasses that people want to use, then you're definitely going to make a huge splash in the market.
Here's another reason why it's superior to a phone. If I'm walking down the street looking at my phone and I run into a pole, right? My fingers are going to get squished, everything else. Wrist gauntlet, I'm just like, bumping with my forearm into the pole as I'm staring at my phone. So it's safer for the public.
Also with the wrist gauntlet, you have, if you get safer, but also if you're worried about privacy and those the security cameras always you're blocking the security camera the whole time,
blocking your face the whole time.
There's multiple value of your gauntlet system, but also another one is that you are basically 90% ready for a Dracula sneeze. So if you have to sneeze, you just kind of like
there you are.
You're just perfect.
Yeah. You sneeze all over your phone. That's great.
A Dracula sneeze, you go to the elbow part, but
if you don't, sometimes you can't make it to your elbow fully, so you're going to go over your gauntlet.
But if you have your gauntlet up, you're already almost there. You just go to the.
It's true.
Or in case you come into contact with Medusa, you don't have to worry about turning into stone.
There you go.
That's true too.
The funny thing is, though, none of this fixes the addiction problem or any of the other problems out there. It's probably just going to make us more stuck into the digital world. But
we just need to have more like poles in the way on the street so people run into it more often, and that way it fixes the problem.
Yeah, they'll just maybe I should stop this addiction.
I wanted to mention something cool about the rabbit. Did you know you can play Doom on it now? There are hacks already to play Doom. That's the most useful thing.
That's the only thing that's useful.
That's the only thing that's useful. For those who have never heard of it, this is a device that pretended to be like this AI solution to solve all problems, and basically a lot of people bought it, and it's a shame because it turns out most of the reviews, now I don't have one, so this is just stuff I'm relaying to you from other reviews, but one of the reviews I saw said hot garbage is the best way to describe this, and that based on the other comments and things like that, it does seem to be claiming it can do a ton of stuff that it had no chance of doing, and also they were claiming to have their own AI system, which they're like, well, technically we do, but also ChatGPT is involved. So it's a little sketch.
And if I recall, the battery life was like horrendous on the device too, which is like, it's this little device that has this little tiny TFT screen or whatever. And it's got like this terrible battery on top of everything else. Like, man.
And also there were people like talking about how the same company previously was into like some crypto nonsense stuff. And then all of a sudden they pivoted to AI. Like, okay. This is something like the R1.
By the way, Michael's not saying all crypto is nonsense. He's just saying that company was in a nonsensical version of crypto.
Well, I mean,
you're trying to save your butt there, Michael.
Yeah, I'm not saying crypto is terrible. I'm saying like the amount of nonsense that is associated to crypto at this point is absurd because of all these like crypto scam nonsense people, like all of that sort of stuff that's happening, and the stuff that was claimed related to the crypto from this company was also not
sus.
It was sus. So anyway,
Jill, what do you think? Smartphone gone?
Yes. No. Well, here's the thing.
I'm confused, Jill. Yes or no?
I'm so confused. So the answer is yes and no. So
yes,
clarify.
I think both of you guys were right on. But our reliance on the smartphone will not go away completely, at least for the foreseeable future. And I see this a lot because of people with disabilities, and that it's the phone has opened the world to them. So, that can transfer over to like, a smartwatch, but glasses, not so much, especially if you're visually impaired. And I do think we will rely on multiple devices for data input and output, whether that be voice, text, images, etc. And as I was reading this article, I was thinking the truth of the matter is that the Internet of Things is growing and evolving, and we are moving with it. As one innovation is slowing down, another innovation is being birthed. So, we're just on this continual, constant, evolution. And On an interesting note, when I was doing the research for this topic for our show notes, I used the text-to-voice feature in the Firefox web browser reader view to read the article to rest my eyes, because I do have visual impairment. And that kind of demonstrates, I was reading a web page, not looking at it.
Yeah. Interesting.
I was having it. I'm sorry. I was having it read it to me.
I mean, by the way, that's a great feature for those who don't know. You click the reader section inside of the address bar, and then it gives you that option to, like, I use it all the time. It's fantastic.
And you can change the font sizes and
you can change the speed of that too.
The speed is awesome. Yeah, and the voice, you can go in. I noticed they added more voices.
You have one that sounds like me? Because if not, I can definitely donate my voice to the cause there. I know people would love for me to read to them.
I don't think anybody wants that. So
you sure?
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that. Okay. But I think that it's true that there's a lot of value in the smartphone for a lot of people, and also I think that the point about it would be kind of cool for, like, the glasses might not be, but the technology for being able to hear stuff with that without having the stuff in your ear might be helpful to some people. So that could be a cool feature of those sorts of things. I think that you're right in saying that the smartphone is boring and no one cares and people are thirsty for something else, or just, anything that's new, that's just different. Not even new necessarily, just different. They could bring back something old, like the brick phone, like I was talking about last episode. Nokia. I want a retro brick phone that is up to date, has modularity. Bring it back. I 100% will buy it, and I think a lot of people will too, because of not necessarily nostalgia. There's that. There's also the people who are like, no, it's hip to be retro, and also people who don't say sentences like that. And there's a lot of value in these kinds of bring back. Oh, I don't know if you know this. It actually made me feel a little old. I found out that the people these days, or the young whippersnappers, are using the term retro to define the 1990s.
I know.
And that's not great. Yeah. And so not only that, but retro
kids.
1990s is now retro and vintage.
No.
Oh, how could you do this to me, people?
Do you know, my family, we actually had one of those phones in the 80s. My brother did. And, there were thousands of dollars to have one of those, and he had one for his work.
I got one when I was like early 20s.
Oh, okay.
But it was also, I got it for used for sale just for the fact that I wanted one, because it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were already at a point where you could have not a smartphone, because this was early. This is 2005, 2006.
Oh, okay.
You could have a flip phone, but at the same time, it wasn't those brick things. And I wanted the brick thing anyway. It wouldn't work, but I wanted it.
I have an idea for our next episode. Technologies that we wanted as a kid, teenager, or adult that we couldn't afford,
but can now and can't get.
Well, the one my brother had was one of the first cell phones that you could use in a car, and
that's going to be a fun episode. We're going to get into that next week. That will be really fun to get into. Jill, take us into our gaming section and tell us what we got in store there.
So remember the days of playing You Don't Know Jack, or getting a group of friends together to play some 007? Woo, those were the days. This is how the cool kids partied. So our game this week looks to bring back the fun and the days of socializing with Miniparty.
Socializing? Gross.
Yes, you got to socialize, both Michael
in
and
person?
Ryan.
With people?
I don't understand what you're saying right now.
Aw, you guys do a great job of that. You prove it at scale every year.
I mean, we're socializing, and this is the amount of socializing we do every. This is
once a year we go to scale.
I was talking about this show. We just talk to each other, and that's it.
Yeah. Done. So the game Miniparty, actually on Steam, describes itself like this. Play against your friends in a group of up to 4 players, or as a single player to beat your high score, either in a LAN party or a local in-couch co-op mode.
Couch co-op mode.
Yeah, couch co-op. Play single player or against up to 4 friends in various minigames. You can design your own character and play in party mode or just a single minigame. And the mini games you can play are football, car race, sprint, tennis, parkour, collect it.
That's ours. That's ours.
Yeah,
We're going to be
parkour or tower defense. I actually, of course, had fun playing parkour.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
I love it.
In single player mode to test it out, but it would be much more entertaining with friends like Michael and Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should do a whole parkour live stream.
That would be really fun.
Wait, you know what? Wait. Are we playing this mode of the, or are we just doing parkour?
We're just going to do parkour.
Okay. We would be so good at it. It makes sense. It makes sense, Like we'd be so good at that.
I think we should do a fundraising thing. If they raise enough money, we'll do a live stream of parkour. Not us actually doing parkour, because you'd have to pay a lot of money to see that, like a lot. But this game, we'll stream this game parkour.
I know we can play the game while we're standing on our skateboards.
Well, I won't be standing on it for a long time. I'll tell you that.
He's gonna eat, he's gonna eat some dirt. He's gonna eat some dirt, people.
So Miniparty is charming. It has really cute graphics, nice sound effects, and an extremely upbeat soundtrack. But the catch here is you're going to have to actually get together with your friends face to face to get the most enjoyment from the game. I know, Michael and Ryan, it's scary, but you can do it.
Challenging us?
I think she is challenging us, but that requires us to go places and do things and leave the house. I don't know.
Yeah.
My virtual friends are so much cooler than my physical friends. Virtual.
So, did they say that you have to leave the house in order to play it? Did they put that in their thing?
Yes.
Because that is funny if they do, because of the fact that it supports Steam Remote Play Together.
Yeah.
And therefore, you do not have to leave in.
Yes.
You are very right.
Goodness.
And the best thing about this game, Miniparty, is it's free on Steam and supports our Linux Penguins out of the box.
Oh, nice.
Like that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's great. I mean, I was kind of bummed when I saw that it was like local only. And then, so I went to the Steam page to see if it actually had the remote play together thing. And that's another reason why Valve is awesome. I know people give us a bit of a hard time for being fanboys, fangirl in Jill's case, of Steam and Valve, but they do good things. They have good products and good services, and they make things like this possible. So get over it.
Nice, Michael. I like it. Kind of channeled a little me there.
Yeah, a little bit. That's like
Jill?
one of my pet peeves. Is if you make a good service and a good product, it is okay to fanboy for them, because it's and that's what it is. Yep,
exactly. All right, Jill. So I am a poor college stud. How can I help manage my finances?
Oh, are you a starving student right now, Ryan?
Stud student, yes.
Yes, college stud. College studentin.
Studentin. Why are you rubbing your head, Michael? You look so disappointed.
I is college student.
I
used to love that when my students would say that. But are you looking for an alternative to Mint for managing your finances so you can invest in your future? Well, you know something that doesn't sell your data to all the credit card companies and everyone else in between?
That doesn't exist. There's no way.
Oh, no, it does. There's this awesome application called Maxint. Maxint is an open banking Mint alternative. Nice. And you can sign up with 2FA, link your bank accounts, enrich transactions, craft budgets, get bill notifications, and find the best banks to maximize your interest. And there's all kinds of features. You can link any bank, catch account fees, which, there's always those hidden account fees.
Trying to stick those in there.
Yeah. Track your wealth, boost financial health, tag your transactions, personalize finances, optimize your expenses, maximize savings, tailor your budget to your needs, wants, and goals, monitor inflation, protect your purchasing power.
That'd be depressing.
Yeah.
Monitor
It'd be
inflation,
one line going straight up.
Constant sadness.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Explore high yield offers, maximize your interest, which is also very important, and compare credit card rewards based on your spending. And
a lot of great features.
Is available as a handy flat pack over at flathub.org for all Linux distros, or as a Debian.deb, or as a tar.xz .exe package that you can extract. I always appreciate when they have tarball extractions for applications.
Yeah. Well, only a couple of things here I would change. Number one is, Maxint is a name. I think they should change the name to Vendetta.
Maximum Vendetta. Max
Financial Vendetta.
Yeah, financial.
That's actually
Vendetta.
a great name. Financial Vendetta. There, like that. And the second one is the tagging your transactions because it's easy for me. It's just wife.
You have really easy like tax bills, probably
all
too.
Tagged right there in one category.
So it's funny because this is really good because of like the timing of the fact that Intuit is getting rid of Mint. Yeah, they're combining it together with Credit Karma because they also bought Credit Karma.
Yeah,
jeez,
and
monopolizing.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Intuit also owns QuickBooks and everything apparently.
Everything.
Oh, and TurboTax. They own TurboTax too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
we can't innovate. We'll just buy everything else. So nobody else can innovate either.
That's great capitalism.
Yeah. Love it.
So this is cool though, but I like a lot of these features because so I used to use Mint. I got sick of Mint because it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. The whole idea is take your bank account, look at your transactions, and automatically categorize them. If I have to categorize them, what's the point? I could just use a spreadsheet. Same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it needs to do that sort of stuff, but also this thing has like tons of features, like not even just that kind of thing of linking your accounts and all that sort of stuff. But I also like the fact that they are, they have 2FA and they're also doing open banking, which personally I didn't think would ever be a term I would ever say. And but at the same time, when you go to the Flat Hub, you will see that it is a verified Flatpak. So it's not just like someone is making a Flatpak; they are making the Flatpak, and that is awesome to see. So not only you're making a cool service, you're also supporting the Linux platform. Thank you.
Rock on, Maxint. We like you. All right, Michael. We don't have an official tip of the week, but we already kind of do have a tip of the week because we've given so many there. Yeah. And what would you say is the rundown here?
Okay. So first, you need to update your system, unlike Ryan, who doesn't do it hardly ever. And
Michael lies a lot.
Michael lies a lot. Also, lock your stuff down. Make sure that you have different passwords for everything. Don't use the same password across your accounts. And also, be sure to back up everything. Anytime you have data and you want it, back it up.
Yeah,
because that's why I actually had a bad update that broke stuff. Now, to be fair to the system I was using, it was like 3 years later that I actually did the update. So it's not really their fault, it's my fault. But I backed up everything beforehand and I lost nothing. So there you go.
There you go.
And make 3 backups: local, cloud, and remote.
And
on a floppy disk.
Yes.
On a floppy disk. And that way you will be unhackable, just like Jill.
There is somebody in our community that said, I could hack Jill because I have a 3.5 inch disk reader. And I'm like, okay, so that's 1 out of 7 billion people out there that could affect.
Yeah, but they have to still get the floppy disk from Jill. So
that's right.
Yeah, and they have to get past my encryption, which is very good.
Yeah, okay, so the floppy disk by itself is enough to be unhackable. She also encrypts the stuff onto the floppy disk.
Yes.
So do you think AI would even know what to do with a floppy disk? It'd be like, I don't know what this is,
Yeah, it's going to
doesn't even know what 2 plus 2 is.
So. Yeah, I mean, there's no chance. Honestly, there's no chance. I couldn't imagine any AI stuff would be like, floppy disk. We need to make sure that we support floppy disk.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's our show. And a big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us by watching or listening to Destination Linux. However you do it, we love your faces. And you can come join us on our Discord by going to tuxdigital.com/Discord and come hang out with the community, talk about all the great things and cool stuff you hear on this show or any of the other shows that are on our network. And if you want to watch the show live, you can become a patron of Destination Linux. We record every Wednesday. If you become a patron of Destination Linux, you get to see all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. It's so cute. Yeah. You can do that by going to tuxdigital.com/membership. And you can watch us live and as we make this show. And also, in addition to that, you can even join us in the patron-only post show that happens every week after the show. You can hang out with us, talk about what we talk about on the show, let us know what your thoughts are on the different topics, as well as just hang out and talk about whatever. It doesn't really have to be about the show. Probably not Crocs, but it could be. Who knows? TuxDigital.com/membership to sign up and talk about your vendetta or what you think should be called vendetta. Anything.
Ryan thinks everything should be.
Apparently, everything for Ryan. Yeah.
When my daughter was like 4 years old, she had all these stuffed animals, and I remember like going to her room and I was like, "What's this one's name?" And she was like, "Chocolate Chip," in the little cute little voice. And I was like, "What's this name's name?" And she's like, "Chocolate Chip." And I'm like, "What's this one's name?" And she's like, "Chocolate Chip." So that's kind of like the vendetta. Every one of them.
So now we know where like it's definitely a genetic thing for sure.
There you go.
So also you can go get some merch that like we talked about, the thing that will be there. I've forced myself to make sure it's happening. TuxDigital.com/store. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, hats, and much more there, including the I'm Unhackable new merch at the store. TuxDigital.com/store.
And make sure to check out all the amazing shows here on Tux Digital. That's right. We have an entire network of shows to fill your whole week with geeky goodness. Check out the Das Geek channel, where you can find out what Crocs he's wearing that day.
That's what my channel's about now? No, I'm going to do a video on Crocs now. Put that in there.
It's a Croc vlog.
No, check out our College Stud, where he reviews awesome tech, discusses ways to keep your privacy intact online, and geeks out on all things open source and Linux. Make sure to check it out. It's an awesome channel.
It's fine. You can try it. You can check it out. It's okay.
And everyone head to tuxdigital.com and subscribe to all our great shows. And don't forget to leave a rating on your favorite app so others can discover the power of open source and keep those penguins marching in the full Monty of Linux and open source awesome sauce. Everybody, have an awesome week. And remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Happy 4th of July.
Yay! Happy
Unless
4th of July.
you're not from America, then
happy Canada Day. They're just
happy whatever. Yeah, good job.
Is this a day that Great Britain like mourns? Are they like really sad they lost all of us?
Good point.
In this day.
Well, actually,
it's our Independence Day, but they're over there like, go to war.
I'm curious more about how many countries have Independence Days that are independent from England,
Great
Britain.
Yeah, that is.
Maybe they've become so jaded and accustomed to it. They're like, yeah, whatever. It's another one.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
We got so many listeners in that area, so it'll be interesting to get their take.
I'm curious what the response is going to be for that.
Oh yeah.
But as another like ending note, I just want to say
get their chin wags.
Yeah, they get the. But there's also I was thinking about the whole gauntlet thing. Yeah. What if we had two and you could be like, like this and have like
nice.
And they could have like NFC stuff attached. It'd be fun. I don't know. Anyway. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, like the whole Gladiator thing.
Yeah, Gladiator and like the X-Men or something. It'd be cool. Make it, people. Make the gauntlet. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're out of here. Bye.
Yeah.
We're gonna go celebrate our independence from Britain.
See you next week, everybody.